The style still had explosive movements in it, fa-jing movements in it, which means explosive energy. It still had leaping kicks and very, very low movements. And this was said to be, at that time, the pinnacle of all the Taiji styles. Yang had two sons, Yang Cheng-fu and Yang Ban-hu. Yang Ban-hu kept the style as it was originally taught, as did his brother Yang Cheng-fu. Yang Cheng-fu also had two sons, Yang Cheng-fu, who is now recognized as one of the greatest masters of modern Taiji, and his brother was called Yang Shou-hou. Yang Shou-hou had a student called Wang Yu-chun, who is believed at this time to be dead. And it's from Chang Yiu-chun that I learned the old Yang style. We call it the old Yang style, which distinguishes it from the new Yang style of Yang Cheng-fu, because when Yang Shou-hou's brother, Yang Cheng-fu, got a hold of his father's Taiji, it was his ambition to give his family art to the whole of China so as to make the Chinese people strong, because at that time China was being invaded by just about everyone, and he wanted to make the ailing people of China really strong so that they could fight off their enemies. And so he took a look at the old Yang style and saw that it was a little too energetic, too athletic for most older people or sick people to learn, and so he set about changing this style. He cut out most of the fa-jing movements, the fast movements. He cut out the leaping kicks, etc., to make it into more or less a health art, but still keeping the basic essence of Taiji as it was originally intended, as a martial art. That's why today most people think of Tai Chi as just really slow movements. That was only invented by Yang Cheng-fu in the 1920s, and from there most Yang styles have proliferated from his style. Yang Shou-hou had very few students, one of which was Chang Yiu-chun, and I was lucky enough to meet him when he was in Australia some years ago, about 1980, and he taught me what he called the old Yang style, and what I believe to be the style that was pretty much unchanged since Yang Lu-chen invented it. Of course, there are bound to be some changes through preferences of teachers, etc., but basically it's the old Yang style that I'll be teaching on this video. There's a very important practice called qigong, which is really coming into vogue nowadays. It's 1988 now, and qigong is a most integral part of one's Taiji training. And I always teach this to all of my students before they even start their Taiji. This builds up an internal energy called qi, which is then flowed around your body, around the 12 main and 8 extra acupuncture meridians of your body by the slow movements of the Taiji form. We do have another video out on qigong itself, so I won't include it on this video. It's also included to a certain extent on my #1 video, the Yang style of Yang Cheng-fu, which is the first style I teach. I'm also hoping that whoever's learning this from this video has also studied a slow form of Taiji to begin with, because this slow form that gives you the basic essence of Taiji and allows this fast form, this very difficult form, to not be so difficult. They used to take 6 years just to learn this style in the old days, and I actually experimented with this form. I took some people just raw who'd never done any Taiji and tried to teach them this form, and it was really quite impossible. But the others who have learnt the Yang Cheng-fu form or some other slow form of Taiji are able to pick this form up in maybe about 1 to 2 years. So your total learning time is actually cut down, having learnt a slow form of Taiji first. In the first third of the old Yang style, there are only a few differences to the Yang Cheng-fu form, and I'll explain those as we go along. You start with your feet parallel and shoulder width, your shoulders are totally relaxed, you're breathing in and out your nose, and you're breathing here. So that when you breathe in, your abdomen expands, and when you breathe out, it goes in again. This is basic diaphragmatic breathing, the same breathing that opera singers and actors use, etc. So you're breathing with this part of your body. You should never breathe like raising your chest. To begin with, you have your hands by your sides in a relaxed position, but the arms are slightly bent, with about a fist distance under each arm. Every movement has a yin and a yang part, and every breath has a yin and a yang part. So an in-breath is a yin movement, an out-breath is a yang movement. Basically, I won't dwell too much on the breath here, because by this time, after having studied a slow form, the breathing should be just all by itself. You shouldn't have to think about when to breathe or when not to breathe. But basically, when you raise your hands, you breathe in. When you take them down, you breathe out. When you push outward, you breathe out. And when you pull into your body, like so, you breathe in. The kicks are done on an in-breath, so that when you're doing a kick, that's an in-breath. And when you do an in-breath on a kick, you have to breathe with what's called a reverse breath. All fa-jing movements in this form are done with the reverse breath. So that when you do a punch or something, you have to breathe, expel the air, because that's an out movement. A punch is a yang movement. But you have to do a reverse breath. So when you breathe out, the lower abdomen doesn't go in like normal. It's pushed out on the out breath, so that grounds you when you strike. It also has the very practical application of getting rid of any air that's already in your lungs. So if you happen to get hit in the lung area, you won't be winded, because there's no air in there to start with. And also, in breathing out, you're protecting this area because you're pushing everything out as you do a fa-jing movement. A fa-jing movement is usually an attacking movement. Well, it's always an attacking movement, and so you're in danger of being struck yourself. So consequently, we use a reverse breath for this method. Standing with your feet parallel, shoulders relaxed, chin pulled tucked lightly in. Your tongue is just resting on your hard palate, just on that little ridge, just above your tooth line. And it's a deep, relaxed breath. Your head is as if it's suspended from above by a piece of string. And when you start to bend your knees down, your buttock should be tucked, not like that, but it should be tucked under. It should be, so there's no sway in your back, just here. It should be straight up and down and vertical. For the most part, the back is held vertical to the ground, with a few exceptions, and they'll be obvious when we come to them. Palms turned in slightly. As you breathe in, totally relax your wrists and raise your arms up in front of you. Notice how the hands are slightly turned inwards. As the hands raise, they turn slightly inwards. And as they come down, it's like as if you're squeezing down on top of something on your out-breath. From here, oh, by the way, this is the north that I'm facing, so out this way is my northeast, and the northwest out to my left. From here, both palms relax and swing up out towards the northeastern corner. Notice how the left wrist is in my center as I breathe in. I keep that circle going over to my left, that's an in-breath, and flex my left hand gently as I breathe out. Notice how the right wrist now is right in line with my center. On the out-breath, you bend your knees down,